Well, what is the future for AOL? When we turn to Nick Thompson, he's the senior editor at Wired Magazine and also author of The Hawk and Dove, which, by the way, has nothing to do with technology, right? So,
Cold War.
Go figure that, right? Exactly. Okay, Nick. So I remember when I was talking to Ted Turner a few months ago, he was saying, he reiterated again, and he famously said that he made a mistake selling Time Warner to AOL. So AOL since then has not really had a very good image in the public eye. So as they spin off, what do they have to do to redeem themselves with shareholders and the public?
Well, what they're actually going to try to do is to try to compete with Time Warner. I mean, they're trying to become a content provider. So their new business model, they're saying, look, old business model, we sell people dial-up access. That worked for a while. It still works a little bit. A few people have forgotten that they don't need to pay AOL anymore, so AOL is still getting checks from them. But that's running out. They're losing lots of them. So now
eventually that's going to disappear.
It's going to completely disappear, particularly as we get broadband throughout the country. So what they're trying to do is they're going to try to flood the internet with news content. And it's not going to be, heavily reported news content. It's not going to be, necessarily chosen by a panel of editors. It's going to be based on algorithms. They're basing their business model on companies called Demand Media and Associated Content. And what they do, Associated Content is where the CEO, Tim Armstrong, used to work. What
at
they
Google,
do,
right?
who was at Google, and he also had a side project called Associated Content. And what those two companies do is they look at what people are searching for in Google, and they look at what people are advertising against, and then they quickly churn out content that meets that. So right now, it's winter. People are searching for, say, snowshoes. So what they'll do is they'll assign someone, give him $50, and he'll churn out a story on snowshoes. And he'll have snowshoes in the title. There'll be a picture of snowshoes, and it will score highly in Google. Armstrong knows how the Google algorithm works, so you can get a story that will appear when people type in snowshoes. Now, it won't necessarily be a good story about snowshoes, but it will be a story. And AOL's plan is to just get tons and tons and tons and have sort of a seamless system that churns out this stuff. And their hope is that they can make advertising dollars against that stuff.
Well, that's the question. Are they? I mean, they're not the only ones doing that. There's others, and they're, like you just said, there's others that may be doing it a whole lot better. I mean, quality does count, right?
Well, the people who are doing it better are Time Warner, the New York Times. But if AOL can churn out 50 stories, or Yahoo, but if AOL can churn out 50 stories in the time it takes the New York Times to churn out one, they can sell ad dollars against all of them. Now, they may be terrible stories. It may be Demand Media, one of their competitors, is sort of 9-part spam, 1-part news. We don't know what AOL is going to be, whether it's going to be like that, where it's going to just be total garbage about snowshoes. They claim it won't be. They just hired a Times reporter named Saul Hansel, which is a good sign. But it looks very ominous from the beginning, both that it won't be high-quality content and also that there might be some sort of deals where an advertiser could say, you know what, we want a story about this, write it.
But Nick, I'm just trying to figure this. As a user, though, then what would attract, other than that they've got a lot of quantity coming out, what would attract me to AOL's site then as they aggregate all that content versus a Yahoo or versus an MSN?
It will probably be, you'll go to Google and you'll get to the AOL content from that. So you'll still go to AOL.com. It's whatever it is, the 4th most trafficked website. People are used to it. It's familiar. They like the layout. So a lot of people still come in that way. What they're hoping to do is to get new people through search.
Okay. All right, Nick. Good to have you stop by again, and
Thank
good to
you, Betty.
see you.
It's always fun to be here.
All right, Nick Thompson, senior editor at Wired Magazine.